Hello, and welcome to a brand new video. I am Kendra, and over here we talk about faith, personal development, and all things in between. So for today's video, I actually want to dedicate this one to my siblings, to my brother and my sister. As you've probably seen, the title of today's video is Siblings, You Are More Important Than You Think. The reason why I made this video is because upon reflection, I was just thinking of the kind of impact that my brother and my sister both had in my life and just helping to contribute to the person that I have become. And I might say that they played a really big role, especially my older brother. And I know some of you maybe, if you're watching and you don't have any siblings, I'm so sorry, but you don't know what you're missing out on. But for those of you who do have siblings, I hope you can take away some of this and you can relate. If not, I hope you can just think and reflect also on the kind of impact your siblings have had on your life, and also just the kind of impact you might be having on their life, especially if you are an older sibling. So for starters, I'm going to go into explaining a little more about my story with my siblings and their impact on my life. To start, I'm going to talk about my brother first. So me and my brother have always been really close. We've had a pretty tight-knit relationship with one another ever since we were young. We are only 2 years apart, so I feel like that has played a major role, but also just the person that he is. He's always very kind, soft, and really likes looking after his younger siblings, me and my younger sister. So when we were younger, my older brother was always the type who would take me under his wing. And I know some siblings, usually if you're an older sibling and you have a younger sibling and you have that younger sibling always following you around, looking after you, copying what you do and everything, it kind of gets annoying. But for me, my brother always, I think he just liked having someone else around. So he just would always really just hold my hand and take me wherever he would go and whatever he was doing. Now, I've always been really shy, very quiet, very recluse, struggled to make friends. But my brother is very extroverted, very outgoing, very social, loves people and all that. So every time I was stuck by myself and I was alone, he would always just take me with him to be part of his friends, just so I wasn't alone. And this has been a really big thing ever since we were younger, something that always became a recurring pattern within our relationship as we grew up as well. This has been a very major contribution to me feeling protected, me feeling included, and always me just feeling just generally loved by him in all of the actions that he did. I didn't know this at the time, but right now, as I grow up, I'm starting to realize that he's one of the biggest impacts of who I have become today and continuing to become. And as I grow older, so obviously we do everything together, and I was sort of a little bit of a tomboy because of him, because I was always hanging out with the boys, hang out with the guys. But obviously growing up and you're a young woman, you start to develop a lot of more feminine habits and a lot of more female habits, which sort of made us no longer do things together as much as we used to, but we do still very much think the same, talk the same, and we just always have a really good relationship. And I think I've come to an understanding that my brother, obviously there were moments where he would do stuff that would annoy me and irritate me and just make me feel just how siblings are. So as now I'm older, my brother's always been very supportive of my dreams, everything that I've ever wanted to do with my life. He's always been the number one person that I can rely on, who will just back me up, be my cheerleader, be my big supporter. He would never question, he would never try to talk me out of doing anything. He would always just support me no matter what, and sometimes even no questions asked, because he just really believes in me that much. And I realized that's something I never knew I needed, because my parents never really did that for me because of having African parents, but that's whatever. But my brother always showed up in those spaces and in that way that I really needed him to. I never realized this back then, but I definitely was something that had a really major impact on how I am grown up. And also one of the biggest thing is when I made the decision to become a content creator, made the decision to become someone who's online and on social media, there are so many hurdles that I had to overcome. And if you know this and you're a content creator as well, you know that you have to get over the fear of recording yourself, get over the fear of recording yourself in public, taking pictures in public, doing stuff in public, get over the fear of caring what people think about you. And my brother played a major role in that as well. Every time we would go out and I would ask him to take my pictures when we go out in public and do little photo shoots outside, I always used to get really shy, and he would be like, why are you shy? You're never gonna see these people again. Like they should mind their own business anyway. And then he would just like have this so much confidence, and that confidence radiated off of him that I would absorb that same energy as well. And then I would also just feel a lot more confident and a little more able to do the things that I could to be able to go out and do those pictures and take those pictures. And even now that he's not around and I'm not with him anymore, everything that he used to tell me those times keep ringing in my head every time I want to take something, but I'm feeling a little shy, I'm feeling a little recluse, or I'm feeling a little like, oh, recording myself in public, oh, taking pictures in public. Those words always just keep ringing and ringing and ringing in my head, and giving me a lot more of a confidence boost and making me feel a lot more empowered in me being able to venture out in this journey. He has always pushed me outside of my comfort zone, always helped me to grow and develop into doing things like, when you're like in your comfort zone, you're just like really comfortable, and you like anytime someone tries to enter into your space or remove you from that space, you just get annoyed or angry because it's like, why are you removing me from my comfort zone? Why are you like disturbing my peace, But then obviously, fast forward to the future, I needed to be pushed. I needed that push. I needed someone who was willing to go out of their way to like remove me from those spaces, because growth never comes when you're stuck in the comfort zone. Development never comes from being stuck in this comfort zone. And obviously being able to be pushed out of that comfort zone, being able to enter into spaces that always made me uncomfortable, has made me kind of develop a certain level of comfortability of being uncomfortable. I'm obviously still in the process of developing and growing in those spaces, but I'm a lot better than what I used to be. I'm a lot more comfortable being in uncomfortable situations right now because I was always pushed out of my comfort zone because of my older brother. When I made the decision to go on this personal development journey and just start entering into the space of growth and wanting to be a better person, he has been the biggest role model that I have looked up to, because he's always been someone I wanted to be. He's just always very kind to everyone, always very friendly to everyone, always has confidence, and there's so many characteristics that he portrays that I always wish that I had within me as well. And I was like, you know what, I can always learn from him and try and develop those things. He's always been a very positive person, positive mindset. Like, I remember there was a time when I was because I was reflecting on my own self and my own behaviors. I used to be very self-destructive and self-sabotaging, and a lot of that was stemmed from a lot of negative thoughts, a lot of limiting beliefs, and a very bad mindset. And then one day, after reflecting on my life, I realized, this is actually not great. And then one day I just was looking at my brother. I don't know what we were doing, but I was just observing my brother and his interaction with people, and I was just so fascinated and just so at awe. I was like, wow, he's just so cool. I really want to be like him. I would like take down notes of all the things that he would do, everything, and I'm like, okay, he's very positive, confident, sure of himself, doesn't care what people think. I need to embody these traits. Like, this is the person that I want to become as well. So my brother has always been a really major influence and a very big role model of helping me to develop the person that I would love to be in the present and also in the future as well. So like, that's like just really mad respect for my brother. We're at the same place where like we're adults and we're just like in a space where it's always a good time, it's always fun. He's just really fun to be around. I always feel like I can just really be myself, let myself go, and I don't feel this level of judgment or criticism, because sometimes when you're with peers your own age, whether they're your friends, it's like you kind of have a resistance to be yourself because you don't know how you'll be perceived, you don't know how they'll react to you, and it's just all these things. And I know a lot of that comes from this, yes, I care what people think, but I mean, people will say things, people will judge you, and it's just like, okay, you can judge me or whatever, I don't care, but at the same time, I don't need you to be in my space while you're doing so. I'm currently in the growth phase, okay? I'm also growing, I'm also learning, I'm also trying to develop and reprogram my mindset to not caring what people think of me, develop a lot more confidence in myself, being able to be a lot more social, being able to be a lot more outgoing. I mean, I'm an introvert, so I don't have to be outgoing, but I'm trying to like embody that same energy, because being a lot more of a socialite is a really big currency in this generation, because it helps to build networks, build relationships with people, build friendships and everything. And these are a lot of things that I know that I struggle with. So I am also in that phase of growing, and this is also just a message to them, to tell them that I am very appreciative of the role that you play in my life and continue to play in my life. And I have mad respect for you. So shout out to my older brother, and thank you so much for just being who you are. Now I'm going to move on to my sister. So my younger sister, now I'm the older sibling in this case, and my sister is the younger sibling in this case. And like I said earlier, you know, when your younger sibling copies you and follows you around and does all these things, it can sometimes be annoying. And I feel like, and that was what happened with me and my younger sister. My younger sister used to literally be the biggest copycat I have ever seen. She would like to dress like me, she wants to go everywhere I go, she would always do those things. Now I was not in a very good space mentally, obviously, when my sister was younger, so I was always rejecting her, and instead of embracing her, I was always rejecting her and always just pushing her away, and I just didn't want her in my space because you know. And I'm sorry about that, by the way, little sister. You know, life was just lifing at the time. But yeah, I was always doing those things, and I know that because, like I said, I'm not in a very good space back then. And also, she was a younger sister, so she was annoying at times, so it was like justified. But now we're growing up, she's growing up also, she's starting to become a little more logical in the way she thinks, a little more like understanding in the way the world works. And we are 6 years apart, so there's a bit of an age gap between us. So despite that, we are older now, she's older, so we're starting to get into similar things. We're starting to, you know, building a bond where we're actually becoming sisters. And I'm liking my relationship with my sister. Actually, I would consider my sister right now as like my best friend, because we have so many similar interests. We talk about so many things. She's the only person I can actually talk to on the phone for hours and not get tired, because it's just good vibes, you know. She's bestie. So I really love my sister, because my sister was younger. There was a lot of times where she would need advice, but she would never take it because she always thought that she was right. She loved embodying that energy. So every time I would try and help her out as an older sister who has experienced the same thing she's experiencing, it's like she would never take it. And now when she's older, she's starting to take it in a little more. She's starting to realize, she's like, oh, you know what? She might actually be onto something. Like, she actually might have the answers to a lot of the questions that I need. So she's actually now seeking an older sister, and I'm there and I can be that for her. And like, we just started creating a bond because of that, and a much stronger relationship as well. So it also makes me feel like I want to become a better person. But yeah, I know she also is the kind of person I can just be around, you know, do whatever, no judgment, no criticism. Every time I have do something crazy, it's like, instead of looking at me sideways, she'll join the crazy, you know, like embody that energy together. So yeah, sometimes we do obviously have that same sibling, you know, back and forth, but overall, absolutely love my sister, love our relationship, love how she's like one of my closest friends, because I feel like now, as I'm growing old, it's becoming a lot harder and a lot more difficult for me to make friends with people and just find proper people who are really genuine friends and actually have your best interests at heart. So having my sister as one of those people who I know are my ride or die, who I know I can count on when I have to talk about anything and everything, then I know that I have her. She's the only person I can do these things with, because yeah, she just gets it, you know. So yeah, this episode was really just a shout out to my younger sister. Love you. Older brother, love you. And just to say that if you're a sibling and you also have a younger sister or an older brother, or just any sibling, maybe you're like twins or in the same age or whatever, really reflect on the kind of impact that you might be having in their lives, and also the kind of impact they might having on your life. Sometimes you think that your existence is not as influential to them as much as you think, but I have seen situations where siblings can grow up together, but like they don't have that close of a relationship, or maybe they don't even grow up really together because of like a really big age gap. So now one sibling feels a lot more alone, or is navigating this world alone, compared to having someone who they feel like they can share, bond with, someone they can, because like, sometimes when you're young, like you have all these childhood traumas, generational traumas, and sometimes your sibling relationship is trauma bonding, but it's bonding nonetheless, but whatever. But sometimes, yeah, I've seen situations where you can have siblings, they are siblings, but they didn't grow up together because they have a really big age gap. So they're never really there for the most significant parts of each other's lives, or just to have these small moments of saying something or doing something that may really impact another person's life, in that other person's life. So now that sibling feels alone. They feel like they have no one to talk to, no one to go to. They can't go to their parents, can't go to their friends, can't go to their outward external people, because they just don't feel like there's anybody they feel safe enough to go to. And as a sibling, sometimes you can be that person for them. You just may not know it. You may not know how significant your existence is to their growth, to their growing up, to their development as a human being and as a person of society. If you had to take away anything from this, I really hope you realize that siblings, your presence in your other sibling's life is very, very important. And it goes a long way, even though they never say it, even though they don't show it, but they do appreciate you, they do love you, and they really do enjoy being around you, even if sometimes they may kick you out of their room or cuss you out, They may have all these things, because it's just pride. Pride will never allow them to openly admit it, but deep down, the love is 100% there. So that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and if you know anyone who's also a sibling, going through sibling rivalry or whatever, send them this video, share this video with them, let them know that you are important. Yeah, if you're a sibling and you want to shout out your other sibling as well, shout them out in the comments below. If you can't tell them directly how you feel, tell them in the comments below, and just tag them as well, so they know that their presence really is appreciated. And thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel to see a lot more of these type of videos, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.